So, okay,
So
that's helpful. I'm glad you shared that, and I'm so sorry about, your loss. It's unfathomable, and, you're strong for even just being on your feet and trying to think about getting
no,
ahead, man, because, it's hard. It's hard.
it is difficult.
So, all right, well, I think so let me just validate your gut here, okay? So I think
Okay,
you're thinking about it the right way, right? You're thinking,
okay,
"Okay,
okay,
okay, look, New York is expensive, so let me try and spot some, cheaper markets." You got Detroit, you got Baltimore. You got some markets that are closer, by the way, that are, also cheap, like Allentown, where I buy, and Camden,
okay.
New Jersey, and stuff like that. And by the way, that's been a lifesaver because when you first get started, you do have to kind of go out to the property a little bit more than you want. Um,
Right, right.
and so if I would
Okay,
have had to take a flight every time I need to go to Allentown, I would have been bankrupt because, you know, I just like to. Not only did I need to be there a lot just because of the shit that was going on in the property, but also just out of, sometimes I just want to go check up on it. Sometimes I just want to go learn more about my market and what, go on a
right.
Saturday, and you're gonna have to spend a lot of time there. So I'm not saying that you
Yeah.
can't do out of state investing. I'm just saying try and make it so that it's just a drive away.
Okay,
That's just a practical thing that would be very helpful. But now,
okay.
I do agree with you. Normally, in most circumstances, I would say, "Hey, look, I don't know about, starting out in New York." But in this case, what you're doing here is, you are 100% right. Sometimes life, for whatever reason, presents you an opportunity, that is just specific to your situation, right?
Right.
And this
Yeah.
is this is one of those times where it's look, the deal may not happen. The deal may not happen,
Right.
but the deal
Right.
may happen. And the fact that you even like people would literally pay you to be able to get a shot at the deal because that's how
Right.
hot New York City real estate is. Um, so so we're gonna have to balance this because I wouldn't want you to end up in a position where you put everything you got into the house and then the house needs another 100 grand on top, and it'll be really difficult to make it happen. Um, however, um, however, I think it's at least worth giving a shot, especially because you can, I'm sure you heard of this program, but there's something called the FHA program where,
Yeah.
yeah, you can buy with 3.5% down. So what do
Okay.
you think what do you think the house would go for? 500,000?
Yeah, I think so. High fours, maybe. High fours to fives, I think, only because of the fact that whoever gets it has to like put in, meters and all of that. Like
Right,
it's not even there. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm
right.
thinking. I
All right. So,
actually, so I own a home. So I actually had to, I hit up one of my uncles on my other
mhm,
side, my dad's side, and I asked
mhm,
him if he would be interested in going in on it with me because he doesn't own a home. This way I could
mm,
try to do the FHA and maybe
mm,
perhaps do like a FHA 203 type deal. This way I
mhm,
could get,
mhm, mhm,
some funding that way and,
mhm.
fix the basement, let him live in it, and then do the two
Exactly.
units at the top, you
Yeah,
know?
because if we were looking at, 480, 485, let's say, you said high fours, or even 475, let's say, and then, 3.5% of that is 16 grand after closing fees. If you're able to finesse it with a FHA, then you're looking at probably 20K to get into the deal, which is doable, that
Right.
that
Yeah.
that brings it into, not that it's not a lot of money, but that brings it into the realm of possibility. And
Right.
then normally, so there's a lot of cases in which I just get a little bit nervous about FHA. For instance,
Okay.
I was my first deal, I was gonna buy a condo, right? And I was gonna buy $1 million condo in Harlem, and it was gonna be 20% down, so I had to put 200 grand. And I tried to get it for 10%, so fine, 100 grand. But then I got to furnish that shit, and then the mortgage is still expensive as hell. And so when I did all the math, I was like, damn, I'm going through all this just so that I could say I own something in New York. But in
Right.
reality, like, it was gonna cost me a ton of money to get it, and then cost me a bunch of money to keep it. However, in
Right.
this
Right.
case, what you have working at your disposal, which is very, very interesting, is there's a lot of value that you can unlock in this home, right?
Yes.
So I'm
Once
not
I'm
that
able
nervous.
to pick it up, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not that nervous about you only owning 3.5% equity because, once you do the value add and add a home, or I'm sorry, add a unit, let's say, um, you know, if you're able to add 2 units, the value skyrockets. But even if you're able to add 1, and you fix it up, then, what's a 2 fam in Jamaica Queens appraising for? Probably closer to what,
8.
650, 689,
Yeah.
8? Oh
I
my
saw I
gosh.
saw I, yeah, I saw two of them. One was like 710 and the other one
Mhm.
sold at like 803. And this was like in
Bruh, the
February.
value,
Yeah.
ridiculous. So
Yeah.
that, yeah, absolutely. That kind of deal is worth fighting for, and then it's got special significance to you. And if you could,
Yeah.
use the FHA will be key here because otherwise it still remains a good deal. It just requires more cash, and
More cash.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's like the less cash you can kind of get in, the better, because there are going to be things for sure that even if you do the FHA with the loan, I forget what's that one called again? FHA 203 or something.
The the 203, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Even if you do that deal, there's no way the bank's going to be able to cover all the shit that you're going to have to put into that.
Right.
Because a conversion is expensive. You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta get permitted to do the meters. You got to run a new service line. But all that stuff is doable. You can chip away at it, especially if you can set it up so that you know your unk is in there, and the mortgage is not going to be
Yeah.
OD expensive at 400 grand. So,
Right.
you're looking at like a $3,000 mortgage payment, which, you know, it's not that it's not anything, but it's doable, especially because other mortgages in New York are like 6 grand, 7 grand, and then it crosses over into difficult. But um, I think that something like this is awesome. Now let's just consider a moment. Let's consider for a moment, like, okay, we're gonna pursue this deal. You're gonna go hard for it. If you can make it happen, excellent. If you can't make it happen, there's still plenty of deals to be had. And the nice thing is you'll have saved aggressively, so you'll have a little bit of cash, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and with that cash, you can go, just to give you a sense for like what the market is like outside of New York. You can go buy a 4 family in, say, I'll just take Allentown because I'm invested here, and it's just an hour and a half away. You can buy a 4 family for 200 grand. Um, and that means that, you do got to put 20% down. So it would have to be, 40K, but you're making a 20% investment, or I'm sorry, you're making a 20% return on your money, right?
Right.
So sometimes 25%. So that means that in 4 years, you get all your money back. Now you've
Right.
recuperated your initial investment, and everything that's left over is just net cash flow. Right?
Right. Right.
So
Right. Right.
so that just gives you a sense of some of the other markets. It's a little bit more cash flow rich. You're not gonna get nearly the same appreciation that you're gonna get in New York. You know,
Right.
New York is New York. Um, However, typically in New York, you don't cash flow that much because
Right.
the
Yeah,
the
you just
purchase
you just
prices are.
making it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
New York is the kind of market where I would only suggest if you can unlock value in a property. So a lot of times that looks like buying a big ass warehouse and then converting it into, lofts and then selling it. In this case, you got a deal that is in your family that has a ton of
Yeah.
value unlocked. And because it's beat up, you can kind of beat them up on
Yeah.
the price. Right. And what you do
Right.
is when you get it under contract, if you decide to go for it, you get an inspector to go out there, right? Not a city inspector, but an inspector for hire. You pay them, I don't know, $1,000 for the inspection report, and
Okay.
you have them write up all the shit that's wrong with it. Roof,
Okay.
foundation, this, that, blah, blah. You just have a fucking ridiculous list. And then what you do is you go and you have a contractor price out. You go and have 3 contractors price out exactly how much it would cost to fix all that, right? And then now
Okay.
you have a basis by which you can legally and reasonably deduct from the purchase price, right? So
Okay.
so now you're not just saying, hey, now it's no longer he said she said. Well, Denise, you're just trying to get a deal. Now you say,
Right.
nope,
Right.
nope, nope. Like, this is an inspection. It's a professional ass inspection report, and you get 3 quotes, and you choose the middle quote. And you
Right.
say, hey,
Okay.
look. this work is going to cost a lot of money. I'm sorry. This house, you know, the fair market value is whatever you think is worth, but deducting all of these expenses that we're going to have to incur as a buyer to get it fixed, right? And that's going to be
Right.
the two legs that you have to stand on when it comes to negotiating price. Now,
Okay.
there might be some all cash buyers that will offer them maybe less than what you're willing to pay, but they'll buy all cash. Um,
Right.
you know, that's just the reality of the New York market. There are some guys that just go out there and buy fucking cash. However,
Yeah.
you know, you're not looking to cheap them out. You're not looking to rake them over the coals, but they can't rake you over the coals either. And
Either. Right. Yeah, for sure.
the hard thing is that people, especially old timers whom are not real estate investors, they just feel like their shit is worth so much more than it actually is, but it's not. You know
Yeah,
what I
it is, and that's exactly where we are in this situation,
mean?
because they kept on telling, they're like, oh, we want to sell this house and get rid of it, and I'm like, well, first of all, it doesn't work like that. You can just sell a house like tomorrow. Like,
Right.
but what do you want for the house? Like, what are your expectations? And they
Mhm.
couldn't tell me anything. I'm like, well, I was like, I know you're looking at Zillow and you seeing the houses all around, but you have to
Right.
look at, this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. Those were 3-bedroom, over 3-bedroom, that's 6 bedrooms, 3 kitchens. It's totally different. So I've been trying to tell, so I actually ordered an appraisal, and the guy appraised it. He didn't come back with the report yet because that was Saturday, but then they hired someone else to do an appraisal yesterday. I guess they didn't trust my guy.
Mm.
So,
What did yours come in at?
we didn't get anything yet because they did it yesterday. It takes he said it will take like 2-3 days.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
so that's where we at. But I totally understand what you're saying, because I think that because they know it's a 2-family, they're thinking it's gonna be worth so much more
Right.
than what it really is, only because they're looking at things in the neighborhood. But those things were renovated, hardwood floors, built stainless steel
Exactly.
appliances, those type of things. So
Exactly. So by you pricing out by you pricing out uh by you pricing out what it's gonna cost to make those improvements, because they're right. It's a 2-fam. So in some
yeah,
sense, it's worth what a 2-fam is worth, but not without putting that money in. So by
correct,
you
correct,
pricing out the fixes, and I want you to really be meticulous about this, right? I want you to price out the cost of, the permits that you're gonna have to pull, the pricing out the cost of the meter that you're gonna have to change out, the servicing, and you can literally call each one of these professionals, have an electrician go out and quote it. Have a, if you need to build a stair set, if you need to do this and need to do that. Also, you know, the carrying cost, because it's going to take a while before you're successfully converted, because inspections don't move that fast, and
yeah,
you're going to be holding the deal while it's being converted. So what I want, this is literally what we do with our lenders, right? They ask to see a very detailed sense of all the costs, just so that they can have a sense of how much the borrower is going to really need to carry, so they can assess their risk. So you're doing the same thing but for a different purpose. You're doing it so that you can deflate their expectations of
right,
how much they think it's worth, because it's worth what they think it's worth, but after repair. you know,
right, exactly,
you gotta account for all the work and cost and expense and sweat that you're gonna have to put into making it great, and then you'll use
great,
that to fight them down. Okay.
okay. Mm. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, because I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about trying to get them to see it from the inspection report standpoint. I was just
Exactly.
basically thinking about the appraisal itself, but not even necessarily the what it's going to cost to
Yep.
hold it
And
and
now
meter it
that
out. Yeah,
way that way you take it away from the, well, it's family, and you move it to the black and white realm. And when they see that you're
yeah,
hitting them with like mad professional quotes and this and that, they're gonna, it just is what it is, and it's gonna move them for sure. And you'll still be kind of far apart, but it'll help you get closer to your desired outcome. So I want
right.
to stay in touch with you. I don't even want to make it transactional. Hit me on email. That's my personal email that I
Okay,
sent you the schedule. You know, I
Okay.
want to be, you know, a sounding board for you as you go through this process. And then also I want to say, you know, whether or not we can make this deal work, you know, I still want to nurture your investor mind, and I still want
Thank you.
you, you know, out there looking for deals and properties. This is a great deal, but this is just one deal out there, you know, that
Right.
we're gonna fight hard to keep it in the family. Um,
Yes.
but you know, all things told, you know, your real estate career is going to be, you know, decades long. So in general, I want to keep developing the investor principles in you, like learning how to spot value and stuff like that. But this is a great place to start. So let's pursue this deal. Keep me posted on the deal where the appraisal shook out,
Definitely.
and you know, if you need help, you know, estimating costs and need someone to look it over, I'm happy to do that. So
Thank you.
so absolutely. So be well, be encouraged, and fight hard for the deal, because the best deals that I've gotten into, man, oof, I had to fight
I
hard
had to
for.
fight.
And I'll just
Yeah.
tell you this. Tomorrow, literally, I'm gonna be refinancing one of my deals, and I'm getting to pull out like a good 250. But you know, I
Right.
fought hard for
Wow.
this deal, and and it was a hard road, but I'm thankful because you know it's usually worth it at the end of the day.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for the help. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch, man, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hit me anytime. Okay, my inbox is always open to you. All right. Have a nice week.
Thank you.
I look
You
forward
too.
to staying posted.
Thanks. We'll talk.
All right.
All
Good
right.
luck, Denise. All right.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.